Hello, welcome to the Station Theater's production of It's a Wonderful Life, live online. Thank you for joining us. Thank you very much for tuning in. Sorry about the technical difficulties up front. I know we're getting a little bit of a late start, but thank you for hanging in there. We really appreciate it. My name is Ed Pierce. I adapted and directed the original production of the show, which the Celebration Company performed at the Station Theater in Urbana last December. Like so many other theaters and theater companies, we aren't able to perform in our space right now, and we've had to cancel a few shows at the end of our season. So we thought we would take this opportunity to present the show in this new way that we're all getting used to. So thanks for hanging in there. I mentioned that we aren't able to present the last two shows of the season, and so we would, of course, appreciate any donations that you feel like giving us. If you go to the theater's website, which is stationtheater.com, that's theater with an R-E at the end of it, stationtheater.com. On the homepage, there will be a pink bar at the top, and you can click there. It'll take you to a donation page where you can help us out if you're so inclined. Now, a little bit about this show. In the original production, we transformed the theater into a fictional theater, where a fictional radio station, WJMP, was presenting its production of It's a Wonderful Life on Christmas Eve of 1946. So what you're going to see today is our actors portraying actors who are playing roles in a live radio version of It's a Wonderful Life. I know it sounds confusing, but hopefully it will all come together as you're watching it. So thank you once again. I really appreciate it. And now let's take you back to 1946, Christmas Eve, to the WJMP studios at the Claiborne Theater, where I will throw it to the station manager for this evening, Mr. John Tilford. John, take it away.
5 minutes, everyone, 5 minutes.
Thank you, John. Good evening, and welcome to the Celebration Company on the Air. I'm Pamela Christman. You may remember me from my leading role in last month's production of Annie Oakley. I ain't afraid to love no man, and I ain't afraid to shoot him neither. Thank you. And now, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce you to the host of our program. Here he is, the mirth maker of the Midwest, Mr. David Laker.
Thank you, Pamela. Thank you. Oh, my, what a terrific audience you are. Thank you. Now, folks, we have just a few moments before we go live on the air. Exciting, isn't it? And I want to thank you for making the trip here to our wonderful theater here in Chicago to spend Christmas Eve with us. You know, people have been coming up to me, I don't tell you, it's because I was personally asked to do it by the big man himself. That's right, Santa. He rang me up. Trunk call, don't you know? I guess they run a phone line to the North Pole now. And he said that all of you were such good boys and girls this year that he needed you out of your homes for a little extra time tonight to deliver all of your presents. How about that? I told him we'd be happy to help. Want to stay on his good side, don't you know? Oh, and he said you're all good boys and girls, too.
Well, my apartment doesn't have a fireplace. I don't know how he'll get in.
Oh, Santa ain't no dummy. He'll get the key from your super.
Santa knows my super?
Sure.
Well, that's great. Well, maybe for Christmas I'll finally get some hot water this winter, huh? That'd be nice.
I'm sure you recognize those two voices, Katie Procise and David Crostall. And standing next to him, that's David Butler. That's right. David, and David. All we need are a couple of Jackson. We'll have a full house.
Well, you know, the original Christmas Eve had 3 kings, and we have 3 Davids.
From 3 wise men to 3 wise guys.
Oh, that's right. Now, unfortunately, one of our regular cast members, Andy Ketchmar, couldn't be with us here tonight. This morning he woke up with a case of laryngitis. And if there's one thing you don't want in a radio show, it's laryngitis. So we called Central Casting, and this terrific young man agreed to help us out tonight. You know, I haven't even had a chance to meet him yet. What's your name, son?
It's Cass.
Getz. That's it? Getz. Well, I assume that's your last name. What's your first name? Jimmy?
No.
Philip?
No.
Zachary? Samuel? Wesley?
It's David.
David! Yeah. Oh, my. Well, I guess you'll fit right in then. Thanks for doing our show. And thank you for coming to our show. Do we have anyone here tonight who served in the armed forces? Oh, well, thank you. And it's awfully nice seeing you. I just want you to know that you can come to our show anytime because, folks, servicemen and women are the finest audience we have. Now, let's give them a hand.
Say David.
Yes?
Yes.
David Laker.
Oh.
Yes, Chelsea. Chelsea Collier, everybody.
You were in the Navy, weren't you, David?
Why, yes, I was. But you know, folks, when I went into the Navy, they had a very unique way of selecting their enlisted men based entirely on what they had done in their private life. So I went in with a couple of buddies of mine, and one of them was a street cleaner, and they put him on a minesweeper, see? And the other buddy of mine was a construction guy. He tore down stuff and carried it off, you see. So they put him on a destroyer. Then the recruiting officer got to me, and he asked me if I was married. I said, no, I've been single all my life. So they put me on a tugboat.
David!
Because they're small, but powerful, you see. Glad to hear you're laughing. You see, this is a live radio show, and we want the audience at home to hear how much you're enjoying it. So go ahead and laugh and cry and sing along as much as you want to. And when we turn on this sign, please applaud. Because if the folks at home hear you having a good time, they'll have a good time too.
1 minute.
Thank you, John. That's John Tilford, our stage manager and sound effects artist. He'll be making most of the sound effects this evening live right before your eyes. Won't you, John? That means, yes. And over here is our musical director, Cheryl Forrest Morganson. Evening, Cheryl. And let's not forget our two very special guest stars, both lately of Hollywood and making their debut appearances with us tonight. Miss Joy Hotsummer and Mr. Jake Farber. Thank you so much for joining us.
30 seconds.
And I suppose now, as it's good as time as any to ask you if you have something in your suit, pants, pocket, or purse that might make a noise to interrupt our show, like, oh, I don't know, a hand buzzer, or perhaps a Dick Tracy wristwatch. Please silence it the best way you can. Thanks.
Stand by. 10, 9, 8.
Here we go, everyone. Enjoy the show.
5, 4.
From the Clyburn Ballroom in Chicago, Skeep's Facial Creams presents the Celebration Company on the air.
It's 7:30, time to take
The Steinbach Company, makers of the Skeeps line of beauty products, brings you tonight's program. It's a Wonderful Life, starring Jake Fava and Joy Huffsummer. And now your host, the humorist of the Heartland, Mr. David Laker.
Thank you, dear friends, thank you. On this Christmas Eve, we present to you a story that is sure to become a Christmas classic. It's a Wonderful Life. Our drama begins before the war, when times were more normal. Shortages were genuinely unknown, and simple luxuries like Skeeps cold cream were abundant. Now, I won't say that's the only reason people said it's a wonderful life, but I do know from the hundreds of letters in our file, and most of them said, it's a wonderful cold cream. This winter, whether you're here in Chicago or elsewhere the cold winds of winter blow, Skeep's line of beauty creams will keep your skin smooth. And what could be more wonderful than that, friends? Now, on to our show. This is the story of George Bailey, citizen of Bedford Falls. His whole life, George has wanted to see the world, the exciting, mysterious world that lies beyond the limits of his hometown. But our story begins at the town's edge. It's Christmas Eve, and George stands on a bridge, looking at the rushing water below, and prays.
Dear Father in heaven, if you're up there and you can hear me, show me the way. I'm at the end of my rope. Please, show me the way.
No one in Bedford Falls can hear George's prayer, but it does not go unheard. In the heavens, Sophia, a wise and motherly angel, calls for one of her subordinates.
Clarence. Clarence, there you are.
That for me, ma'am? Sorry, I was just reading The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. It's one of my favorites.
Yes, I sent for you. We have a very serious situation that we must address. A man down on Earth needs our help. George Bailey.
Is he sick?
No, worse. He's lost all hope, and he's thinking seriously of ending his life.
Oh, dear, his life?
I want you to stop him.
Oh, then I must get dressed.
Wait, Clarence. First, you need to know about George's life and what led him to his desperate thoughts.
Of course. Ma'am?
Yes, Clarence?
Well, if I should accomplish this mission, might I perhaps win my wings? I've been waiting for over 200 years now, and people are beginning to talk.
Help George Bailey, and we'll see about your wings.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, Clarence. Now, George Bailey has always... Let me just show you. When George Bailey was a boy, 2 events occurred that you should keep in mind. This is the first. When George and his young brother Harry went sledding.
There they are. I see them.
Harry slid too far on the lake and fell through the ice. He almost drowned, but George jumped in and saved him.
Oh, goodness.
As a result, George caught a bad cold and then an infection. He recovered, but he lost the hearing in his left ear. Or he could he was weeks before he could return to school for an after-school job at Mr. Gower's drugstore.
There!
It's me, Mr. Gower, George Bailey.
You're late.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Georgie.
Hello, Violet.
Hello, George.
Hiya, Mary.
Hello, Violet.
Hello, Mary.
2 cents worth of shoelaces, Vi?
Please, Georgie.
I like him.
You like every boy.
What's wrong with that? Here you are. Help me down from my seat, Georgie. Help you down? Huh. Made up your mind, Mary?
I'll take chocolate.
With coconuts?
I don't like coconuts.
I don't like coconuts. Say, brainless, don't you know where coconuts come from? Look at here. Tahiti, Fiji Islands, the Coral Sea.
A new magazine. I never saw it before.
Of course you never. Only us explorers can get it. I've been nominated for membership in the National Geographic Society. Hold on, I'll get your chocolate.
George, is this the ear you can't hear in? George Bailey, I'll love you till the day I die.
I'm going out exploring someday, you watch. And I'm going to have a couple of harems and maybe 3 or 4 wives. Wait and see.
Uh-huh.
George, you're not being paid to be a canary.
No, sir.
Mr. Gower was usually a kind and gentle man, but that evening he had received a telegram notifying him that his only son had died of influenza while at college. Poor Mr. Gower tried to lose his grief in whiskey. The second event to remember, Clarence. In a weakened, inebriated state, Mr. Gower mistakenly filled a prescription with poisonous capsules.
Oh, no.
George saw him do it, though, and tried to warn him about the dangerous error.
Here, George, take these pills over to Mrs. Blaine's. She's waiting for them.
Yes, sir. But Mr. Gower, I think those...
Oh, get going.
Yes, sir.
George didn't know what to do, so he decided to talk to the person who always knew the right thing, father. George ran over to the Building and Loan Association to ask him for advice.
The Building and Loan Association?
George's father ran the Building and Loan Association. With his brother Billy, that is. They always had high ideals, but often a low bank account.
I gotta see Pop, Uncle Billy.
Some other time, George. Some other time. There's a squall in there that's shaping up into a real storm. George, don't go in there.
No, all I'm asking is for 30 days more, Mr. Potter.
Pop!
Just a minute, son. Just 30 days, I'll dig up that 5,000 somehow.
Peter Bailey, have you put any real pressure on those people of yours to pay those mortgages?
Times are bad, Mr. Potter. A lot of those people are out of work.
Then foreclose on them.
I can't do that. These families have children.
But they're not my children. Are you running a business or a charity ward?
Mr. Potter, what makes you such a hard-skulled character? You have no family, no children. You can't begin to spend all the money you've got.
So I suppose I should give it to miserable failures like you and that idiot brother of yours.
Hey, he is not a failure. You can't say that about my father.
George.
You're not. You're the biggest man in town.
George, run along.
Bigger than him. Bigger than everybody.
Oh, yes, the mighty Baileys.
Don't let him say that about you, Pop.
It's all right, son. It's all right. I'll talk to you tonight.
But George didn't get an answer, did he, ma'am?
No, he didn't, Clarence. So he went back to the drugstore to tell Mr. Gower about the dangerous mistake that he had made.
Where you been, George? Mrs. Blaine has called twice. What happened to her prescription? You lost it, didn't you?
No, Mr. Gower, here it is.
You good for nothing. Don't you know that Blaine girl's very sick?
Please, Mr. Gower, my ear. You're hurting my sore ear.
I'll teach you to loaf, you lazy brat.
Mr. Gower, you didn't know what you were doing. You put something wrong in those capsules.
Shut up.
Look, Mr. Gower, you use this bottle to make the capsules poison.
Poison? No.
Don't hit my sore ear again, Mr. Gower.
Oh, George.
I know you feel bad, Mr. Gower. It wasn't your fault. That's why I didn't deliver it. All I wanted was to make sure.
George, I'm sorry, George. I'm sorry.
Mr. Gower, I won't ever tell anyone. I know you don't mean to. I won't ever tell a soul.
Here you go. An overnight bag. One of the best ones in the whole store. English cowhide combination lock.
No, now look, Betty. I want a suitcase, and I mean a big one.
What did you stop it for, ma'am?
Because I want you to take a good look at that young man's face.
Who is it?
George Bailey.
The boy from the drugstore?
That's right.
It's a good face. I like it. I like George Bailey. Tell me, ma'am, did you ever tell anyone about the poison?
Not a soul. And Mr. Gower never took another drop of alcohol.
Oh, and what about that girl? Did he ever marry her? And did he ever go exploring?
Patience, Clarence. Patience. For the last 4 years, while most of his friends went off to college, George stayed home to help run the building alone. But now his brother Billy was graduating from high school. George was finally free to follow his dreams, like spending the summer seeing the world.
Big, you see? I don't want a bag for one night. I want one for 1,001 nights, with plenty of room for labels from Italy, Baghdad, Samarkand.
Oh, so a flying carpet. I'd have to special order one of those. Hold on a minute. I don't suppose you'd like this second-hand case, would you?
Oh, you're talking, Betty. Gee whiz, look at the size of that thing. I could use it as a raft in case the boat sinks. How much?
No charge. It's a present from Mr. Gower. He came down and picked it out himself.
He did? What do you know about that? Hi, Ernie. Hey, the cab looks nice.
Thanks, George. Waxed it all morning.
And if it isn't Bert the cop, any scofflaws to report, officer?
You're not stealing that luggage, are you?
Sure. It'll be your biggest case.
Aw.
You know, Ernie, I'm a rich tourist today. How about driving me back home in style?
Here, Your Highness. Hop in.
Good afternoon, Georgie. Boys.
Hello, Violet. Hey, you look good. That's some dress you got on there.
This old thing? Why, I only wear it when I don't care how I look. Enjoy your trip, George.
Thanks, Violet. Hey, want to come along on that ride, Bert? We'll show you the town.
No thanks. I think I'll go home and see how the wife is doing.
Family man.
Boy, oh boy. My last meal at the Old Bailey room and board.
Have a good trip, George. Your Uncle Billy and I are going to miss you.
Going to miss you too, Pop. Hey, what's the matter? You look tired.
Oh, I had another tussle with Potter today. I thought when we put him on the board of directors, he'd ease up on us a little bit.
I wonder what's eating the old money-grubbing buzzard anyway.
Oh, he's a sick man. Sick in his mind, sick in his soul, if he has one. Hates everybody that has anything that he can't have. Hates us mostly, I guess.
Hey, can I have the car, Pop? You gotta take over some place to the graduation party.
Oh, no, you don't, Harry. Not my best Haviland.
Hey, George, coming over later to the party?
What do you mean? It'd be bored to death?
There'll be a lot of pretty girls there. Couldn't think of a better way to go.
Did I act like that when I graduated high school?
Oh, pretty much. You know, George, we wish we could send Harry to college with you. Your mother and I talked it over half the night.
We have that all figured out, Pop. You see, Harry will take my job at the building and loan, work there 4 years like I did, then he'll go.
He's pretty young for that job.
No younger than I was.
Maybe you were born older, George. I suppose you've decided what you're going to do when you get out of college.
Oh, well, you know what I've always talked about. building things, designing new things, planning honored cities, all that stuff I've talked about.
Of course, it's just a hope, but you wouldn't consider coming back to the building alone, would you? I know it's too soon to talk about it.
Now, Pop, but I couldn't. I couldn't face being cooped up for the rest of my life in a shabby little office. Oh, I'm sorry, Pop. I didn't mean that. But this business of nickels and dimes and spending all your life trying to figure out how to save 3 cents on a length of pipe, but I go crazy. I want to do something big and important.
You know, George, I feel that in a small way we are doing something important. It's a fundamental urge to want to have your own roof over your head, and walls, and a fireplace, and we're helping people get those things from our shabby little office.
I know, Dad. I wish I felt... But I've been hoarding pennies like a miser in order to... Most of my friends have already finished college. Just feel like if I don't get away, I'd bust.
Yes. You're right, son.
You see what I mean, don't you, Pop?
This town is no place for any man unless he's willing to crawl to Potter. You've got talent, son. You get yourself an education, then get out of here.
Pop, do you want a shock? I think you're a great guy. Now, did you hear that from the kitchen, Mother?
I heard it. And it's about time one of you two said it.
Pop, I think I'll get dressed and go over to Harry's party.
Have a good time, son.
Well, look who's here. George Bailey. Hee-haw.
Oh, Sam Wainwright. When did you get here?
This afternoon. Thought I'd give the kids a treat.
Old college graduate now, huh?
Yeah, and I've got the vocabulary to prove it. I understand you'll be matriculating to our fine alma mater this autumn. Isn't that so?
I suppose it is.
Well, hee-haw.
Hi, Georgie.
Oh, hello, Violet.
Now, who wants to dance with me?
Well...
Hey, George.
Hiya, Marty. It's old home week.
Hey, do me a favor, will you, George?
What's that?
You remember my kid sister, Mary?
Oh, yeah.
Dance with her, will you?
Oh, me? I mean, I feel funny enough already with all these kids.
Come on, be a fool. Just dance with her one time and you'll give her the thrill of her life. Here. Hey, sis.
Excuse me, Violet.
So the next thing I know, some guy comes up and trips me, and that's the reason why I came in for it.
Uh-huh.
If it hadn't been for that... Oh, is that your foot? If it hadn't been for that, the race would have been a cinch. I tried to find out who it was later, but I mean
Hey, Mary. You remember George? George, this is Mary. Okay, I'll be seeing you.
Well...
So back to my story. Nobody ever even...
Excuse me.
Hey, this is my dad.
Why don't you stop annoying people?
I was just explaining. Hey!
Oh.
Hello. You're looking at me as if you didn't know me.
Well, I don't.
Pass me on the street almost every day.
Me?
Uh-huh.
That was a little girl named Mary Hatch. That wasn't you.
And someone better tell my mother.
Is that the same girl from the drugstore?
Yes, it is, Clarence.
I knew it. I just knew it.
George and Mary had a wonderful time at that dance. And 3 hours later, he was walking her home.
Buffalo gals, can't you come out tonight? Can't you come out tonight? Can't you come out tonight?
Buffalo gals, can't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon? Hot dog, just like an organ.
Yes, quite impressive.
You know, if it wasn't me talking, I'd say you were the prettiest girl in town.
Well, why don't you say it?
I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. Hey.
as I was walking down the street, down the street, down the street.
Okay, then. I'll throw a rock at the old Granville house.
Oh, no, don't. I love that old house.
No, you see, you make a wish and then try to break some glass. You got to be a pretty good shot nowadays, too.
George, don't. It's full of romance, that old place. I'd love to live in it.
In that place?
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't live in it as a ghost. Now watch. Right in the second floor there.
What did you wish, George?
Well, not just one wish. A whole hatful, Mary. I know what I'm going to do tomorrow, and the next day, and the next year, and the year after that. I'm shaking the dust of this crummy little town off my feet, and I'm going to see the world. Italy, Greece, the Parthenon, the Colosseum. Then I'm coming back, and I'm going to college to see what they know. Then I'm going to build things. I'm going to build airfields. I'm going to build skyscrapers 100 stories high. I'm going to build bridges a mile long. Hey, that's a pretty good shot, Mary. What you wish for?
Oh, no.
Come on, tell me.
If I told you, it might not come true.
What is it you want, Mary? What do you want? You want the moon? You say the word, I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down. Hey, that's a pretty good idea. I'll give you the moon, Mary.
I'll take it. And then what?
Or then you could swallow it and it all dissolve, see? And the moonbeams would shoot out of your fingers and your toes and the ends of your hair. Am I talking too much?
Yes! Why don't you kiss her instead of talking her to death?
How's that?
Oh, youth is wasted on the wrong people.
Hey, hold on, mister. Come back out here. I'll show you some kissing that'll put hair back on your head.
George!
Uncle Billy, what is it?
Come home quick. Your father, he's had a stroke.
George's father died that night, Clarence.
Oh, dear.
George canceled his plans for Europe and spent the summer getting the building a loan in order to perform. Just as George was ready to leave for college, the directors of the building and loan held a meeting.
Now we come to the main purpose of this meeting, to appoint a successor to our dear friend Peter Bailey.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to get to my main purpose. I claim this institution is not necessary to this town. Therefore, I make a motion to dissolve the building and loan.
Miss Potter, it's too soon after Peter Bailey's death to do
Peter
anything.
Bailey died 3 months ago. I don't mean any disrespect to him, God rest his soul, but Peter Bailey was not a man of business. He was a man of high ideals, so-called. But ideals without common sense can ruin this town. Now, take this loan here to Ernie Bishop. You know that fellow that sits around all day on his brains in his taxi? I happen to know that the bank turned down this loan. He comes here, and we're building him a house worth $5,000. Why?
I handled that, Mr. Potter. You have all the papers there. His salary, insurance. I can personally vouch for his character.
A friend of yours.
Yes, sir.
You see, if you shoot pool with some employee here, you can come and borrow money. And what does that get us? A discontented, lazy rabble instead of a thrifty working class. You know, because a few starry-eyed dreamers like Peter Bailey stir them up and fill their heads with a lot of impossible ideas. Now I say...
Hold on, Mr. Potter. You're right when you say my father was no businessman. I know that. Why he ever started this penny ante building and loan, I'll never know. But neither you nor anybody can say anything against his character. His whole life was... Why, in the 25 years since he and Uncle Billy started this thing, he never once thought of himself. He didn't save enough money to send Harry to school, let alone me. But he did help a few people get out of your slums, Mr. Potter. Oh, well, you're all businessmen here. Doesn't it make them better citizens? Doesn't it make them better customers? What did you say? People need to wait and save their money before they even ought to think of a decent home. Wait. Wait for what? Until their children grow up and leave them? Until they're so old and broken down that they... Do you know how long it takes a working man to save $5,000, Mr. Potter? Do you? You know, this rabble you're talking about. They do most of the working and paying and living and dying in this community. Is it too much to have them work and pay and live and die in a couple of decent rooms and a bath? My father didn't think so. People were human beings to him. But to you, a warped, frustrated old man, they're cattle. Well, in my book, he died a much richer man than you'll ever be.
I'm not interested in your book. I'm talking about the building and
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about something you can't get your fingers on. That's what you're talking about. Well, I've said too much. You're the board here. You do what you want with this thing. Just one thing more, though. This town needs this measly, one-horse institution, if only to have some place where people can come without crawling to Potter. Come on, Uncle Billy.
Boy, oh boy, that was telling him, George, old boy, you shut his big mouth. You should have heard him, Tilly.
I heard a lot of yelling. What happened?
Well, we're only being voted out of business after 25 years, that's all. Easy come, easy go.
I wonder what's going on in there.
Oh, never mind about that. They're putting us out of business. So what? I can get another job. I'm only 55.
55.
Go on. You'll miss your train. You're a week late for school already. You gave up your boat trip. You don't want to miss college too, do you?
George, wonderful news. They voted Potter down. They want to keep the building and loan going.
Yes.
But they've got one condition, only one condition.
What's that?
Oh, that's the best part of it. They've appointed George here as executive secretary to take his father's place.
Oh, no. Uncle Billy.
Oh, you can keep him on. That's all right. As secretary, you can hire anybody you like.
Mr. Campbell, now let's get this thing straight. I'm leaving. I'm leaving right now. I'm going to school. This is my last chance. Uncle Billy here. He's your man.
But George, they'll vote with Potter otherwise.
I know. George didn't leave, did he, ma'am?
That's right. Not only that, but he gave his school money to his brother Harry and sent him to college.
And what happened to George?
For another 4 years, George stayed in Bedford Falls, waiting for Harry to finish college so that he could take over running the building alone. Finally, Harry graduated, and George went to the train station to welcome him home.
There she blows, Uncle Billy. You know what the three most exciting sounds in the world are?
Sure. Breakfast is served, lunch is served, dinner.
No. Anchor chains, plane motors, and train whistles. The old professor now. Hey, Harry. Hello, Phi Beta Kappa Bailey. All American.
Well, if it isn't old Geographic Explorer Bailey. What, no dog sled? Uncle Billy, you haven't changed a bit.
Oh, am I glad to see you.
Say, where's Mother?
She's home cooking the fatted calf. Come on, let's go.
Wait a minute. I want you to meet someone. Ruth, this is my Uncle Billy and my brother George. Ruth Dakin.
Ruth Dakin Bailey, if you don't mind.
Huh?
Well, I wired you I had a surprise. Here she is. Meet the wife.
Well, how do you do? Congratulations. Congratulations? What am I doing? Welcome to the family. Harry, why didn't you tell somebody? What's a pretty girl like you doing marrying this two-headed brother of mine?
Well, I'll tell you, it was purely mercenary. My father offered him a job.
Oh, he gets you and a job? Well, Harry's cup runneth over.
Uncle Billy, I've heard so much about you.
Hey, George, give me a hand over here, will you? Hey, George, about that job, Ruth spoke out of turn. I never said I'd take it.
You've been holding the bag here for 4 years, and, well, I won't let you down, George. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot the bags. I'll be right back.
Oh, I'm so happy to finally meet you, George. George. That's all Harry ever talks about.
Hey, Ruth, what about this job?
Oh, well, my father owns a glass factory in Buffalo. He wants to get Harry started in the research business.
Is it a good job?
Oh, yes, very. Not much money, but a good future, you know. Harry's a genius at research. My father fell in love with him.
Uh-huh. And you did too, huh?
I did.
Come on, folks. We've got a wedding party to throw. Whoopee!
Later that night, as the wedding celebration was winding down, George stood on the front porch and thought about his future.
There you are, George, old boy. Well, fresh air keeps the doctor away, huh?
Something like that, Uncle Billy.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. You know, George, I feel so good, I could spit in old Potter's eye. I think I will. Or maybe I'd better just go home. Yes, I'll do that. Now, if you'll kindly point me in the right direction.
Here you go. Turn this way. Now, right straight down the sidewalk.
This way, huh? Much obliged. My wild Irish rose. I'm all right. I'm all right. The sweetest flower that grows.
Hello, Mom.
George, what do you think of Ruth?
She's swell.
Looks like she can keep Harry on his toes.
Keep him out of Bedford Falls, anyway.
Did you know that Mary Hatch is back from school?
Uh-huh.
Came back 3 days ago. Nice girl, Mary. Kind that will help you find the answers, George. Oh, stop that grunting. Give me one good reason why you shouldn't call on Mary.
Sure, Sam Wainwright. He's crazy about her.
Well, she's not crazy about him.
Well, how do you know? Did she discuss it with you?
No.
Then how do you know?
I've got eyes, haven't I? Why, she lights up like a firefly whenever you're around.
Oh.
And besides, Sam Wainwright's away in New York, and you're here in Bedford Falls.
And all's fair in love and war?
Well, I don't know about war.
Mother, you know, I can see right through you. Right back to your back collar button, trying to get rid of me, huh?
Uh-huh.
All right, Mother. I think I'll go out and find a girl and do a little passionate necking.
Oh, George.
Now, if you'll kindly point me in the right direction. Good night, Mrs. Bailey.
What are you doing? Picketing?
Huh? Oh, hello, Mary. I just happened to be passing by.
Yeah, so I noticed. Have you made up your mind?
How's that?
Have you made up your mind?
About what?
About coming in. Your mother just phoned and said you were on your way over to pay me a visit.
Well, how did she know? I just went for a walk and happened to be passing by.
I'll be downstairs, Mother.
All right, dear.
What, you went for a walk, that's all?
Well, are you coming in or aren't you?
Well, I'll come in for a minute. But I didn't tell anybody I was coming over here. When did you get back?
Tuesday.
Where'd you get that dress?
Do you like it?
It's all right. Thought you'd go back to New York like Sam and Freddie and the rest of them.
Oh, I worked there for a couple of vacations, but I don't know. I guess I was homesick.
Homesick? For Bedford Falls?
Yes, and my family and, everything. Would you like to sit down?
All right, for a minute. still can't understand it, though. You know, I didn't tell anybody I was coming here.
Would you rather leave?
No, I don't want to be rude.
Well, then sit down.
Well, I see it still smells like pine needles in here.
Thank you.
Well,
It was nice about your brother Harry and Ruth, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's all right.
Don't you like her?
Of course I like her. She's a peach.
Oh, it's just marriage in general you're not enthusiastic about, huh?
No, marriage is all right for Harry and Marty and Sam and you.
Mary! Mary, who's down there with you?
It's George Bailey, Mother.
George Bailey? What's he want?
I don't know. What do you want?
Me? Not a thing. I just came in here to get warm.
He's making violent love to me, Mother.
You tell him to go right back home. And don't you leave the house either. Sam Wainwright promised to call you from New York tonight.
But your mother needed... You know, I didn't come here to...
What did you come here for?
I don't know. You tell me. You're supposed to be the one that has all the answers. You tell me.
Oh, why don't you go home?
That's where I'm going. I don't know why I came in here in the first place. Good night.
Good night.
Mary! Mary, it's the telephone! It's Sam! He's waiting!
Hello?
Forgot my hat.
Hee-haw! Hello, Sam. How are you? Oh, well, that's awfully sweet of you, Sam. There's an old friend of yours here, George Bailey. Yes, old mustache George. Well, all right, I'll call him. George!
He doesn't want to speak to George, you idiot!
He does so. He asked for him. George! Sam wants to speak to you.
Hello, Sam.
Hey, a fine pal you are. What are you trying to do? Steal my girl?
What do you mean? Nobody's trying to steal your girl. Here's Mary.
No, wait a minute. I want to talk to both of you. Tell Mary to get on the extension.
He says for you to get on the extension.
I can't. Mother's on the extension.
Oh, I am not!
We can both hear. Come here. We're listening, Sam.
I have a big deal coming up that's going to make us all rich. George, you remember that night in Martini's bar when you told me you read someplace about making plastics out of soybeans?
Huh? Yeah. Soybeans, yeah.
Well, Dad snapped up the idea. He's going to build a factory outside of Rochester. How do you like that?
Rochester? Why? Why Rochester?
Well, why not? Can you think of anything better?
Oh, I don't know. Why not right here? You remember that old Tool and Machinery Works? Tell your father he can get that for a song. And all the labor he wants, too. Half the town was thrown out of work when they closed down.
That so? Well, I'll tell him. Hey, that sounds great. Oh, baby, I knew you'd come through. Now, here's the point. Mary, you're in on this, too. Now, listen, have you got any money?
Money? Yeah, well, a little.
Well, now listen, I want you to put every cent you've got into our stock, you hear? And George, I may have a job for you too. That is, unless you're still married to that broken down building and loan. This is the biggest thing since radio, and I'm letting you in on the ground floor. Mary.
I'm here.
Will you tell that guy I'm giving him the chance of a lifetime? You hear? The chance of a lifetime.
George, he says it's the chance of a lifetime.
Now, you listen to me, Mary. I don't want any plastics. I don't want any ground floors, and I don't want to get married. Ever. To anyone. You understand that? I want to do what I want to do. And you're... Oh, Mary.
George.
Mary, darling. I love you, Mary.
George? Mary? Hey, are you kissing my girl, George? Well, hee-haw!
Well, well, well. So George Bailey and Mary Hatch.
Yes, George and Mary were finally married, and they started their honeymoon in the back of Ernie Bishop's taxicab.
Oh.
Going to the train station, that is.
Oh.
Hey, by the way, where are you two going on this here now honeymoon?
You know what we're going to do? We're going to shoot the works. We've been saving up. Here's the kitty, Ernie.
Hey, that's a pretty big roll of cash.
I feel like a bootlegger's wife.
Gonna spend a whole week in New York.
A whole week in Bermuda.
Staying in the biggest hotels.
Eating the richest caviar.
Meeting the most important people. And all with the prettiest wife.
Finally getting out of Bedford Falls, huh? Then what?
Then what, honey?
After that, who cares?
That does it. You know, I haven't kissed you in a...
Hey, George, look! There's something funny going on over there at the building and loan. A bunch of folks trying to get in.
Huh. Pull over a minute, will you, Ernie?
George, let's not stop. Uncle Billy
I'd better see what it is. I'll be back in a minute, dear.
George.
Excuse me, everybody. Pardon me. Hey, what's going on, Uncle Billy? What's happened? All those people out there in the lobby.
This is a pickle, George. This is a pickle. All I know is our bank called our loan an hour ago. I had to hand over all our cash.
Holy mackerel.
The whole town's gone crazy. The bank's in the same spot we are.
Our charter, too.
What about our charter?
Our charter says we have to stay open until 6 p.m. The state can take away our license if we don't.
Yes? Hello? George, it's Potter.
Potter? Hello?
George, are you all right? Do you need any police?
Police? What for?
Well, mobs can get pretty ugly sometimes, George. I'm gonna go all out and help in this crisis. Now, I've just guaranteed the bank sufficient funds to meet their needs. They'll close up for a week and then reopen.
Uncle Billy, Potter just took over the bank.
That no good.
Hey, I may you lose a fortune, but I'm willing to guarantee your people too. Just tell them to bring their shares over here and I'll pay them 50 cents on the dollar.
Boy, you never miss a trick, do you, Potter? Well, you're going to miss this one.
If you close your doors before 6 p.m., you will never reopen.
How can we stay open until 6 without any money? George, where are you going?
Out to talk to those people. Come on.
George?
Where's the money?
And now, please, just a minute.
How about our money, George? Where's our money?
Now, wait a minute, Tom. Hold on. You're thinking of this place all wrong. Your money's not here.
What? Not here?
Wait a minute now. Let me tell you. Your money's in people's houses. Tom, your money's in Joe's house next to yours, and in the Richards house, and Mrs. Macklin's house, and 100 others. Why, you're lending them the money to build, and then they're going to pay it back to you as best they can. What are you going to do? Foreclose on them?
Well, I got $242 in here, and $242 isn't gonna break anybody.
Okay, Tom, all right. Fill out a withdrawal slip, and you get your money in 60 days.
What? 60 days?
Well, now that's what you agreed to when you bought your shares.
Oh, no, I don't remember. Hey, I got my money. Old man Potter said he'll pay 50 cents on the dollar for every share you got.
Well, that settles it. I'm going to Potter. Better to get half than nothing.
That's right.
Tom, now wait. Now listen to me. I beg of you not to do that. If Potter gets a hold of this building and loan, there'll never be another decent house built in this town. He's already got a hold of the bank. Now he's after us. Why? Because he wants to keep you living in his slums and paying the kind of rent he decides. Joe, you lived in one of his houses, didn't you? Have you forgotten what he charged you for that broken-down shack? And remember last year when things weren't going so well and some of you couldn't make your payments.
That's right.
You didn't lose your homes, did you?
No.
Think Potter would have let you keep them? Now, we can get through this thing all right, but we've got to stick together. We've got to have faith in each other.
But my husband hasn't worked in over a year, and I need money.
And I've got doctor bills to pay.
I feed my kids on faith, George.
Right.
How much do you need?
Mary, that's the money for a honeymoon.
Here it is. All of it. The most important people, George.
Hey, I've got $2,000. This will tide us over till the bank reopens. All right, Tom, how much do you need?
$242.
Oh, Tom, just enough to get you through until the bank reopens.
I'll take $242.
There you are.
That'll close my account.
No, your account's still here. That's a loan. Now, Ed, what'll it take till the bank reopens? What do you need?
Well, I suppose $20?
$20. Now you're talking. Fine. Here you go. All right, now, Mrs. Thompson, how much do you need?
But it's your own money, George.
Never mind about that. How much do you need?
Could I have $17.50?
17. Bless your heart. Of course you can. Of course you can.
We're gonna make it, George. They won't close us up today.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6 o'clock. Close the door, Tilly.
Oh, we made it. And look, we still got $2 left. We're still in business. Whoopee!
A toast to Papa Dollar and Mama Dollar. If you want the old building and loan to stay in business, you better have a family real quick.
Here's to their wedding night.
Wedding? Holy mackerel, I'm married. Where's Mary? Mary! She's not here. Look, I've got a train to catch. I've got to... The train's gone too. Is Ernie still here with his cab?
George, there's a call for you.
Look, Tilly, will you get my wife on the phone? She's probably over at her mother's.
Mrs. Bailey is on the phone.
I don't want Mrs. Bailey. I want my wife. Oh, Mrs. Bailey. That's my wife. Here. Mary, listen, dear, I'm sorry. What? Come home? What home? 23 Sycamore. Well, what? Whose home is that? Well, all right. 23 Sycamore, huh? The old Granville house. Hey, Bert! Hey, Ernie, is that you up there on the porch?
Hiya! Good evening, sir.
Entree, monsieur, entree.
I love you truly, truly, dear.
Life with its sorrow, life with its tear.
Mary?
Welcome home, Mr. Bailey.
I'll be. Where did you... How did you...
Remember the night we broke the windows in this old house?
Yes?
This is what I wished for.
Darling, you're wonderful.
For I love you truly, truly, dear.
Old houses are so romantic.
They not only spent their honeymoon in the old Granville house, they moved in and set up a home there.
And what about the building and loan?
For the next 2 years, the Bailey Building and Loan helped people move out of their dingy rentals in Potter's Field and into clean new homes in Bailey Park. Families like the Dohertys and the Martinis. As more and more of them moved, Potter decided he had had enough. So he scheduled a meeting with George.
Thank you, Mr. Potter. That's quite a cigar.
You like it? I'll send you a box.
Well, I suppose I'll find out sooner or later, but just what exactly did you want to see me about?
Now, that's just what I like so much about you. You don't beat around the bush. George, I'm an old man, and most people hate me. But I don't like them either, so that makes it all even. Well, you know just as well as I do that I run practically everything in this town but the Bailey building and loan. You know also that for a number of years I've been trying to get control of it, or kill it, but I haven't been able to. You have been stopping me. In fact, you've beaten me, George. And as anyone in this country can tell you, that takes some doing. Now, take during the Depression, for instance. You and I were the only ones that kept our heads. You saved the building and loan, and I saved all the rest.
Well, most people say you stole all the rest.
Well, the envious ones say that, George, the suckers. Now, I have stated my side very frankly. Now, let's take a look at your side. Young man, 27, 28, married, making, say, 40 a week.
45.
5. Out of which, after supporting your mother and paying all your bills, you're able to keep, say, 10 if you skimp. Child or two comes along, and you won't even be able to save the 10. Now, if this young man of 28 was a common, ordinary yokel, well, I'd say he's doing fine. But George Bailey is not a common, ordinary yokel. He is an intelligent, ambitious young man who hates his job and who hates the building and loan almost as much as I do. Young man who has been dying to get out on his own ever since he was born. The young man, the smartest one in the crowd, mind you, the young man who has to sit by and watch his friends go places because he is trapped. Yes, sir, trapped into frittering away his life playing nursemaid to a lot of garlic eaters. Now, do I paint a correct picture? Do I exaggerate?
What's your point, Mr. Potter?
Point? Well, my point is, I want to hire you.
Hire me?
I want you to manage my affairs, run my properties. Georgia, I'll start you out at $20,000 a year.
$20,000 a year?
You wouldn't mind living in the nicest house in town, buying your wife a lot of fine clothes, a couple of business trips to New York a year, maybe once in a while Europe. You wouldn't mind that now, would you, George?
Would I? You're not talking to somebody else around here, are you? You know, this is me. You remember me, George Bailey?
Oh, yes. George Bailey, whose ship has just come in, providing he has the brains enough to climb on board. I'm offering you a 3-year contract at $20,000 a year, starting today.
Oh, Mr. Potter, what about the building and loan?
Oh, confound it, man. Are you afraid of success? Is it a deal or isn't it?
Well, Mr. Potter, I want to... No, now, wait a minute. I don't have to talk to anybody. I know right now, and the answer is no. No, doggone it. You sit around here and you spin your little webs and you think the whole world revolves around you and your money. Well, it doesn't, Mr. Potter. In the whole vast configuration of things, I'd say you were nothing but a scurvy little spider. Good day, Mr. Potter. And here's your cigar.
George, what did Mr. Potter want?
Ah, gee, it was nothing. We just talked and...
What are you thinking about?
Mary Hatch, why in the world did you ever marry a guy like me anyway?
To keep from being an old maid.
We were going to see the world. I was going to give you the moon. What have I given you? What, not even a new dress, not for months. Gee whiz, I feel awful.
So do I, especially in the mornings.
You could have married Sam Wainwright or anybody else in town.
I didn't want to marry anybody else in town. I want my baby to look like you.
You didn't even have a honeymoon. I promise you. You're what?
My baby?
You mean you're on the nest?
Uh-huh. George Bailey Lasso Stork.
In just a moment, we'll bring you Act 2 of It's a Wonderful Life. Oh, my. George didn't see that coming, did he, folks? Quite a surprise. I'll tell you what's not a surprise, though, and that's how fresh and radiant all the women on our show look. That's because they're all Skeeps ladies. Isn't that right, Chelsea?
That's right, David. In fact, before our performances, we often shop together to make sure we always have Skeep's fine products on hand.
Not just on hand, on face too.
Yes, you could say that. We're all keen on Skeep's beauty creams and soap.
Well, the results are indeed lovely. Perhaps you can tell our audience how Skeep's products are a part of your everyday skincare routine.
It's very simple, really. I just wash my face briskly with Skeep's facial soap and hot water, scrubbing in circular motion. This stimulates and opens the pores, allowing for the scientifically proven cleaning that only Skeep's facial soap provides. Then I rinse with cold water.
Well, that makes complete sense.
Next, I lavishly apply Skeep's cold cream for an immaculate cleaning, if I may say so on Christmas Eve. I find an 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch thick from hairline to neckline does the trick. Skeep's cold cream contains scientifically prepared ingredients chosen for their adhesive and lubricating characteristics, giving it the perfect quality for proper dust and grime removal without irritation. I let it sit for 1 full minute, then I rinse with cold water.
I can certainly see.
But not before I wipe my entire face with Skeep's cleansing tissues. They're large, firm, and marvelously absorbent. Modern science prescribes them for cold cream removal as they instantly lift away dirt, dust, oil, and grime.
Finally!
Oh, a quick spritz of Skeep's skin freshener closes my pores and firms my skin. It's a tonic and mild astringent, scientifically formulated to be safe to use every 6 hours. Then a round of Skeep's liquefying cream, Skeep's vanishing cream, and Skeep's finishing cream.
The finish! Finally! Thank you, Chelsea, for that informative and quite thorough explanation.
Oh, maybe I could tell you about makeup.
Maybe that's fine! David.
Yes.
Yeah.
Butler.
Oh.
David Butler, would you please?
You're listening to the Station Theater on the Air. We'll return to Act 2 of our presentation of It's a Wonderful Life after this short break for our local stations. Originating from WJMP, this is the T-Berry Broadcasting System.
We're out.
All right, this is the intermission, everyone. Thank you for watching, and wonderful job, everybody. We've got Act 2 coming up in just a moment. We'll give our actors a little bit of a break to have a drink of water and stretch their legs and such. I hope you're enjoying our production of It's a Wonderful Life by the Celebration Company at the Station Theater. Just a reminder that we're presenting it this way on Zoom online, mainly because we can't get into our theater right now to produce shows in our space, unfortunately, like so many other theaters. In fact, we had to postpone or perhaps even cancel the last two shows of our regular season. And so now that we're heading into summer, we'll see what happens. But if you've enjoyed shows at the Station Theater in the past, or if you're enjoying this production, or frankly, even if you're not enjoying it, feel free to go to the Station Theater's website, which is stationtheater.com. That's theater, R-E, stationtheater.com. And at the top, you'll see a pink ribbon with a link where you can donate to our theater company. We'd really appreciate the support, so thank you. And thank you again for watching this production. All right, so at the theater we would have taken a 10-minute break right about now so that people could have bought some candy and coffee and merchandise in the lobby and hung out around the railroad tracks on the front. But now, since we're doing this online, we're just going to plow ahead. So I take you back to Christmas Eve 1946 to the Clybourne Theater, where if everyone is ready, it looks like David Katz has left the building. I'm not sure if he has any lines coming up. He probably has a few minutes to spare. But we'll throw it back to the Clybourne Theater and our stage manager, John Tilford. John, take it away.
Thank you. Stand by, everyone. 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the Station Theater on the Air with your host, the side-splitting rail splitter himself, Mr. David Laker.
Thank you, thank you. Ah, Christmas Eve, a time when children are staying up, anxious about tonight's arrival, Santa. And housewives are staying up too, anxious about tomorrow's arrival, their families. Katie, are you ready for Christmas dinner tomorrow?
Of course, David. I have the turkey, stuffing, cranberry sauce, 4 different kinds of pie, and plenty of chairs for everyone.
But what about that most important part of the Christmas feast? The floral centerpiece.
Oh, I wouldn't forget that. And this year, like every year, I purchased my lovely centerpiece from the area's foremost creator of beautiful floral arrangements, Rick Orr Florist.
That must be an attractive centerpiece indeed. Rick Orr is known for creating the most exquisite floral arrangements, from boutonnieres and corsages to wedding bouquets and funeral wreaths, each crafted with the highest care and artistic quality.
Yes, Rick Orr is known for his attention to detail, and it shows in the tasteful flowers he chooses for his arrangements. For example, my Christmas centerpiece features larkspur, anemone, purple willow, beargrass, and of course, poinsettia, plus bells of Ireland, lily of the Incas, birds of paradise, and phlox. Gracefully arranged in a lovely Chadwick vase and set in a bed of festive, colorful marbles.
Oh, good. Rick hasn't lost his marbles. It sounds like Rick Orr Florist is a name you trust.
I really do. Why, it's a family tradition for us. Every holiday, I display a beautiful bouquet from Rick Orr Florist, as did my mother, and her mother before her.
Yes, Rick Orr has been around a long time. So, friends, whether you strap on some ice skates, hop aboard a trolley, or saddle up that old gray mare, be sure to visit Rick Orr Florist, where Rick Orr himself will greet you with his signature,
"Oh dear God, oh dear God."
Rick Orr Florist, when your loved one is sick, brighten your day with some flowers from Rick, R-I-C-K-O-R Florist.
That's Rick Orr Florist for all your floral needs. And now, back to our show. At the beginning of our second act, two angels, Sophia and Clarence, are reviewing the life of George Bailey.
Clarence, you probably already guessed that George never leaves Bedford Falls.
No, I didn't think that he did.
Mary had her baby, a boy. Over the next few years, she had two more, both girls.
Oh, how nice.
Mary raised their family and remade the old Granville house into a warm and loving home. George continued running the building alone, helping people realize their dreams. Old man Potter was as angry as ever. Then came the war.
Oh, goodness.
Everyone did their part, of course. Bert the cop was wounded in North Africa and received the Silver Star. Ernie the taxi driver parachuted into France. Sam Wainwright made a fortune in plastic hoods for planes. Harry Bailey, well, he became quite a hero. Harry was a Navy flyer who shot down 15 enemy planes, two of them as they were about to crash into a transport full of soldiers.
Yes, but George.
George couldn't join the service due to his bad ear. Instead, he did what he could on the home front. Air raid war, paper drives, scrap drives. On VE Day, he wept and prayed. On VJ Day, he wept and prayed again. Which brings us to today.
Today, yes.
This morning, the day before Christmas.
Tilly, look at this. Right in the front page. President decorates Harry Bailey. Local boy wins Congressional Medal of Honor. Can you imagine that? Mother even had lunch with the president's wife.
What did they have to eat?
What did they... Well, the Navy's flying her home this afternoon. You can ask her yourself.
Oh, George, that reminds me. The bank examiner's here. He's waiting in your office.
All right, thanks, Tilly. Good morning, sir.
Carter, bank examiner.
Mr. Carter, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
We're all excited around here. See, my brother just got the Congressional Medal of Honor. The president just decorated him.
Well, I guess they do those things. I trust you had a good year.
Good year. Well, between you and me, Mr. Carter, we're broke.
Very funny. Now, if you'll cooperate, I'd like to finish with you by tonight. I want to spend Christmas in Elmira with my family.
I don't blame you at all, Mr. Carter. Just make yourself at home. I'll get our books for you. Oh, hello, Violet.
George, can I see you for a second?
Of course you can. Come on in this office over here. Tilly, has Uncle Billy come in yet?
No, he's stopping at the bank first.
Now, where are those deposit slips? Oh, here they are. All right. December 24th, $8,000. Oh, I'd better check that. Let's see. Sounds right.
All right, so our Mr. Potter has had some technical difficulties and he's jumped off the show for a moment. While we wait for him to come back in, well, I'll leave it up to the cast. Should we take a little pause here and wait for him to come back, or do you want me to jump in and read these lines?
Oh.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah, jump on in, Ed.
Yes, Ed.
Go for it.
Yep.
All right. Woo! I won't be able to do this part justice. And
Show must go on.
Dave will be back.
High upstairs, so.
All right. We'll see. I'll just jump right in here. All right. No, I don't have change for your kettle.
Well, good morning, Mr. Potter. What's the news? Oh, that's right. It's right here on the front page of the newspaper. Oh, let's see. Oh, here's something. Harry Bailey wins Congressional Medal. Now, that couldn't be one of the Bailey boys. Oh, you just can't keep those Baileys down now, can you, Mr. Potter? Here, you can have my copy to read all about it. free of charge. Good morning, Horace. I'd like to make a deposit. Here's my deposit slip.
I guess you forgot something, Mr. Bailey.
Huh?
Your deposit, it's usually customary to bring the money with you.
Oh, shucks, of course. Well, I know I had, well, I had it a moment ago. It's gone. The envelope's gone.
But what happened to the money, ma'am?
A terrible thing, Clarence. Uncle Billy couldn't find the money because he accidentally folded the envelope up in the newspaper that he gave to Potter.
Oh, no.
And even worse, Potter discovered the money almost immediately. But instead of returning it to Uncle Billy, he put it in his pocket and kept it.
Here you are, Vi. A letter of recommendation.
My good character? If I had any character, I'd...
Now, it takes a lot of character to leave your hometown and start all over again. And here, to put you on the right foot.
No, George, I can't take your money.
Here, now you're broke, aren't you?
I know, but...
What do you want to do? Hawk your furs and that hat? Want to walk to New York? You know, they charge for meals and rent up there just the same as they do in Bedford Falls.
Yeah, sure.
It's a loan. That's my business. Building and loan. Besides, you'll get a job. Good luck to you.
I'm glad I know you, George Bailey.
Mr. Bailey.
Oh, Mr. Carter, I'm sorry. I'll be right with you. Tilly, is Uncle Billy in yet?
Yeah, he ran into his office.
Uncle Billy? What's going on? The bank examiner's here.
He's here?
Yeah, he wants a... Hey, what's the matter with you?
Oh, George. George, I lost it. I lost all of it.
Lost what?
The deposit, George. The whole thing. $8,000. I just don't know what happened to it, George. I just don't know.
Uncle Billy, it's not our money. It's the depositors. Now, look, did you buy anything?
Nothing. Not even a stick of gum.
All right, we'll go over every step you took since you left the house.
They searched for hours, Clarence, becoming more and more desperate with each minute. But of course, they didn't find the money. It was sitting in a desk drawer in Potter's office.
Oh, George, we've looked everywhere.
And did you put the envelope in your pocket?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe? I don't want any maybe, Uncle Billy. We've got to find that money. Think.
I can't think anymore, George. I can't. I'm no good to you, George.
Where's the money, you stupid, silly old fool? Where's the money? Do you realize what this means? It means bankruptcy and scandal and prison. That's what it means. One of us is going to jail. Well, it's not going to be me. Now, out of my way. I'm going home.
Hello, darling.
Daddy's home!
Did you bring the wreath?
Did you bring the Christmas wreath, Daddy?
What wreath?
The Christmas wreath for the window.
No, I left it at the office.
Is it snowing?
Yeah, just started.
Where's your coat and hat?
Left them at the office.
What's the matter?
Nothing's the matter. Everything's all right. Must you keep playing that?
I have to practice for the party tonight, Daddy.
Mommy says we can stay up till midnight and sing Christmas carols.
Better hurry and shave, George. The families will be here soon.
Families? What? I don't want the families over here.
Janie, practice in the parlor. You too, Pete. Run along. Have a hectic day?
Oh, yeah, another big red letter day for the Baileys.
Wow! Daddy, the Browns next door have a new car. You should see it.
What's the matter with our car? Isn't it good enough for you?
Yes, Daddy.
Pete, go upstairs and see what Zuzu wants.
Zuzu? What's the matter with Zuzu?
Oh, she's got a cold. She didn't button up her coat and caught it coming home from school. She's in bed.
What is it, a sore throat or what?
Just a cold. The doctor says it's nothing serious.
Doctor? Is the doctor here?
Yes, I called him right away. He says it's nothing to worry about.
Is he running a temperature? What is it?
Just a teensy one, 99.6. She'll be all right.
Gosh, it's this old house. I don't know why we don't all have pneumonia, this drafty old barn. Might as well be living in a refrigerator. Why do we have to live here in the first place and stay around this measly, crummy old town?
George, what's wrong?
Wrong? Everything's wrong. You call this a happy family? Why do we have to have all these kids?
Where are you going?
Up to see Zuzu.
Hello? Yes, this is Mrs. Bailey. Oh, thank you, Mrs. Welch. I'm sure she'll be all right. The doctor says she ought to be out of bed in time to have her Christmas dinner.
Is that Zuzu's teacher?
Yes.
Let me speak to her. Hello? Mrs. Welch? This is George Bailey, Zuzu's father. Say, what kind of teacher are you anyway? What do you mean sitting in your home like that half naked? You realize you'll probably end up with pneumonia on account of you?
George!
Is this the sort of thing we pay taxes for? To have teachers like you? Silly, stupid, careless people who send our kids home without any clothes on? You know, maybe my kids aren't the best dressed kids. Maybe they don't have any decent clothes. Hello? Who's this? Oh, Mr. Welch. Okay, that's fine, Mr. Welch. Gives me a chance to tell you what I really think of your wife. Oh, you will, huh? Okay, Mr. Welch. Anytime you think you're man enough. Hello? Hello?
Daddy, how do you spell frankincense?
How should I know? What do you think I am, a dictionary? Janie, haven't you learned that silly tune yet? You've played it over and over again. Now stop it. Stop it.
George, what's wrong with you?
I'm sorry, Mary. Janie, I'm sorry. I didn't mean... You go on and practice. Pete, I owe you an apology, too. I'm sorry. What did you want to know?
Nothing, Daddy.
What's the matter with everybody? Janie, go on. I told you to practice. Now go on, play.
George, why must you torture the children? Why don't you... George! Bedford 247, please.
Is Daddy in trouble?
Shall
we pray for him?
Yes, pray very hard. Hello, Uncle Billy?
Thank you for seeing me, Mr. Potter. I'm in trouble, you see. I need help. Through some sort of accident, my company shortened their accounts. The bank examiner's up there today. I've got to raise $8,000 immediately.
Oh, so that's what those reporters wanted to talk about.
Reporters?
Yes, they called you from your building and loan. There's a man over there from the DA's office, too. He's looking for you.
Please help me, Mr. Potter. Help me, won't you please? Can't you see what it means to my family? I'll pay you any sort of interest on the loan.
Well,
Still want the building.
Could it possibly be that there's a slight discrepancy in the books?
No, sir. There's nothing wrong with the books. I've just misplaced $8,000. I can't find it anywhere.
Have you notified the police?
No, sir. I didn't want the publicity. Harry's coming home tomorrow, and...
Well, they're going to believe that one. What have you been doing, George? Playing the market with the company's money?
No, sir. No, sir. I haven't...
Well, what is it then, huh? A woman? You know, it's all over town that you've been giving money to Violet Bick.
What?
Why did you come to me, George? And why didn't you go to Sam Wainwright and ask him for money?
I can't get a hold of him. He's in Europe.
Well, what about all your other friends?
You don't have that kind of money, Mr. Potter. You know that. You're the only one in town who can help me.
Oh, I see. I've suddenly become quite important. Well, what kind of security would I have, George? Have you got any stocks?
No, sir.
Bonds, real estate, collateral of any kind?
Here, I have some life insurance, a $15,000 policy.
How much equity's in it?
$500.
Look at you. You know, you used to be so cocky. You were going to go out and conquer the world. You know, you once called me a warped, frustrated old man. Well, what are you but a warped, frustrated young man? A miserable little clerk crawling in here on your hands and knees and begging for help. No securities, no stocks, no bonds, nothing but a miserable little $500 equity in a life insurance policy. You know, you're worth more dead than alive. Well, why don't you go to that riffraff you love so much and ask them to lend you $8,000? You know why? Because they'd run you out of town on a rail. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you, George. Since the state examiner's still here, as a stockholder of the building and loan, I'm going to swear out a warrant for your arrest. Misappropriation of funds, manipulation, malfeasance. All right, George, go ahead. You can't hide in a little town like this.
And all that time, Potter had $8,000 sitting in his desk drawer.
That's right, Clarence. After that meeting, George went to Martini's restaurant seeking solace in a bottle. There he is, sitting at the bar, alone.
God, your Father in heaven, I'm not a praying man, but if you're up there and you can hear me, show me the way. I'm at the end of my rope. Show me the way, God.
Hey, why you drink so much, my friend? Nick, call a taxi.
Yes, Mr. Martini.
Please go home, Mr. Bailey. This is Christmas Eve.
Did you say Bailey? Which Bailey? Where is he?
Here, this is Mr. George Bailey.
George Bailey, huh?
Oh, hey!
Trying to talk to my wife like that, she'll get worse.
You get out of here, Mr. Welch.
He cried for an hour. Isn't enough. She slaves teaching her stupid kids how to read and write, and then you bawl her out.
You hit my best friend. Get out.
All right, all right.
You all right, George?
Who was that?
Oh, he's gone. Don't worry. His name's Welch, and he don't come into my place no more.
Oh, Welch. Well, that's what I get for praying.
Don't go, Mr. Bailey. Let me get something for your face. It's bleeding.
I'm all right.
Please don't go away, please.
I'm all right.
George left Martini's restaurant 10 minutes ago. Standing on the bridge, looking at the river far below, contemplating the unthinkable. Are you ready, Clarence?
Oh, all ready, madam.
Well, save George Bailey's life. Got your wings.
My wings? Oh, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. All right, Clarence, this is it. Here you go. Help! I'm drowning! Help!
What? What's that? Hold on! Hold on! I'll get you! Come on! Hold on to me!
Here's some coffee. You both sure you're all right? You want a doctor?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
Oh, I'm fine. Thank you for letting us dry out our clothes here in your gatehouse, my good man. I didn't have time to get more modern underclothes, though. My wife gave me these on my last birthday. In fact, I passed away in them.
You what, mister?
Oh, Tom Sawyer's drying out, too. I left in such a hurry, I forgot to take him out of my pocket. You know, you really should read the new book Mark Twain's writing now.
How'd you happen to fall in, anyway?
Oh, I didn't fall in. I jumped in to save you, George.
You what? To save me?
Well, I did, didn't I? You didn't go through with it, did you?
Go through with what?
Suicide.
It's against the law to commit suicide around here.
Yeah, it's against the law where I come from, too. I had to act quickly. That's why I jumped in. I knew if I were drowning, you'd try to save me. And you did. And that's how I saved you. Oh, your lip's bleeding, George.
Yeah, I got a bust in the jaw in answer to a prayer a little bit ago.
Oh, no, 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 no. I'm the answer to your prayer. That's why I was sent down here.
Sent down? Say, where is it you're from, mister?
Heaven.
Huh?
Hey, how do you know my name?
Oh, I know all about you. I've watched you grow up from a little boy.
You... I don't know you. Who are you?
Clarence Oddbody, AS2.
Oddbody, AS2. What's that? AS2.
Angel, second class.
Hey, I'm getting out of here. You may not need a doctor, but I sure do.
And I was sent down here to save you, George. Ridiculous of you thinking of killing yourself and for money. $8,000.
Now, wait a minute. How'd you know that?
Because I'm your guardian angel.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised. You're my guardian angel? What happened to your wings?
I haven't won them yet. That's why I'm angel second class. I've got to earn my wings, and you'll help me, won't you?
Sure. How?
By letting me help you.
Only one way you can help me. You don't happen to have $8,000 on you.
No. We don't use money in heaven.
Oh, right. Well, comes in pretty handy down here, bub. Found it out a little late. I'm worth more dead than alive.
Now, look, you mustn't talk like that. I won't get my wings with that attitude. You just don't know all that you've done. Why, if it hadn't been for you...
Yeah, if it hadn't been for me, everybody'd be a lot better off. My wife, and my kids, and my friends. Look, little fella, go off and haunt somebody else, will you?
No, you don't understand. I've got my job.
Shut up, will you?
Oh, this isn't going to be so easy. So you think killing yourself would make everyone feel happier?
Oh, I don't know. I guess you're right. Suppose it would have been better if I'd never been born at all.
What did you say?
Said I wish I'd never been born.
Wait a minute. That's an idea. What do you think, ma'am? Uh-huh. Me too. All right. You got your wish, George. You've never been born.
What did you say?
You've never been born. You don't exist. You haven't a care in the world. No worries, no obligations, no $8,000 to get.
Hey, say something else in that ear.
Sure. You can hear out of it now, too.
Well, that's the doggonest thing. I haven't heard anything out of that ear since I was a kid. It must have been that jump in the cold water.
Your lips stop bleeding, George.
What do you know about that? What's happened? Well, I could use a drink. How about you, Angel? Care for a drink?
Oh, I don't know.
Come on, as soon as these clothes of ours are dry.
Our clothes are dry.
Now, what do you know about that? Stove's hotter than I thought. Now, come on, get your clothes on and we'll stroll up to Martini's. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll stroll, you fly.
I can't fly. I haven't got my wings.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Couple of drinks and we'll both fly. Come on.
What are you two having?
Oh, hello, Nick. Where's Martini?
You want a martini?
No, Martini, your boss. Where is he?
Look, I'm the boss. You want a drink or don't you?
Okay, all right. Double bourbon, quick, huh?
And what's yours?
Oh, I was just thinking. Well, it's been so long since
Look, mister, I'm standing here waiting for you to make up your mind.
Oh, that's a good man. I was just thinking of a flaming rum punch. No, it's not cold enough for that. Wait a minute. I got it. Mulled wine. Heavy on the cinnamon, but light on the cloves. Now, off with you, my good lad, and be lively.
Hey, look, mister, we serve hard drinks in here for men who want to get drunk fast. You know, we don't need any characters around to give the joint atmosphere. Is that clear? Now, do I have to slip you my left for a convincer?
Nick, just give him the same as mine. He's okay.
Okay.
What's the matter with him? I never saw Nick act like that before. And this place, it's changed.
You'll see a lot of strange things from now on. Well, somebody's just made it.
Made what?
Every time you hear a bell ring, a man just got his wings.
What did you say?
Look, Clarence, I think maybe you better not mention getting your wings around here.
Why? Don't they believe in angels?
Yeah, but, you know.
Then why should they be so surprised when they see one?
That does it. Out you two pixies go through the door or out the window.
Look, Nick.
And that's another thing. Where do you get off calling me Nick? I don't know you from Adam. Hey, you rummy, didn't I tell you never to come panhandling around here?
You buy me a drink, mister? Just one drink?
It's Mr. Gower. Mr. Gower, this is George Bailey. Mr. Gower, don't you know me? Mr. Gower.
No, just one drink, mister.
Hey, Joe, throw the rummy out.
Hey, Nick, this is Mr. Gower, the druggist. Don't...
You know, that's another reason for me not to like you. That rumhead spent 20 years in jail for poisoning a kid. If you know him, you must be a jailbird yourself. Joe, here's 2 more. Get them out of here. Hey, get me. I'm giving out wings.
I just don't get it. What was wrong with Mr. Gower?
You see, George, you weren't there to stop Mr. Gower from putting that poison into the girl's medicine.
What do you mean I wasn't there? I remember it. Hey, who are you?
I told you, George. I'm your guardian angel.
Yeah, I know you told me that. What else are you? What? Are you a hypnotist?
No, of course not.
Then why am I seeing all these strange things?
Don't you understand, George? It's because you haven't been born.
If I haven't been born, then who am I?
You're nobody. You have no identity.
What do you mean, no identity? My name's George Bailey.
There is no George Bailey. You have no papers, no cards, no driver's license, no insurance policy. You've been given a great gift, George. A chance to see what the world would be like without you.
Now, wait a minute here. Wait a minute. This is some sort of funny dream I'm having here. So long, mister. I'm going home.
Home? What home?
Shut up! Cut it out. You're crazy. That's what I think. You're screwy and you're driving me crazy too. I'm seeing things. I'm going home to see my wife and family. You understand that? And I'm going home alone.
All right. Come on.
Hey, it's Bert. Bert!
Stand back,
Thank
mister.
heavens you're here.
Get your hands off me, copper!
Violet! Violet, it's me, George!
Just get in the wagon, okay?
I didn't do nothing.
Bert, what are you arresting Violet for?
What do you think, mister?
I said let go of me!
Ernie! Hey, Ernie, pull over!
Huh?
Hey, Ernie, take me home, will you? I'm off my nut.
All right. Where do you live?
Oh, now doggone it, Ernie. Don't you start pulling that stuff. You know where I live, 23 Sycamore. Now hurry up.
Okay, 23 Sycamore.
Yeah. Hurry up. Zuzu's sick.
All right.
Hey. Where's the building and loan?
Building in what?
The Bailey building and loan. It was right there.
They went out of business years ago.
Look here, Ernie. Straighten me out here. I've got some bad liquor or something. Now you are Ernie Bishop, and you live in Bailey Park with your wife and kid. That's right, isn't it?
My wife?
Seen your wife. I've been to your house 100 times.
Look, what's the idea, huh? I live in a shack in Potter's Field, and my wife ran away 3 years ago and took the kid. And I ain't never seen you before in my life.
Okay, just step on it. Just get me home. Mary? Mary, where are you? Pete? Janie? Susan, where are you?
This is just an old abandoned house, George. You have no wife, no children.
What have you done with them? Where are they? Where are they? My mother's? I'll go to my mother's house. She'll know me.
Yes?
Mother.
Mother? What do you want?
Mother, it's George.
George who? If you're looking for a room in the boarding house, there's no vacancy.
Oh, Mother. Mother, please help me. Something terrible's happened to me. I don't know what it is. Something's happened to everybody. Please let me come in. Keep me here till I get over it.
Get over what? I don't take in strangers unless they're sent here by somebody I know.
Well, I know everybody you know. Your brother-in-law, Uncle Billy.
You know him?
Sure I do.
When'd you see him last?
Today, over at the house.
That's a lie. He's been in the insane asylum ever since he lost his business. And if you ask me, that's where you belong.
Strange, isn't it? Each man's life touches so many other lives. And when he isn't around, he leaves an awful hole, doesn't he?
I've heard of things like this. You got me in some kind of spell or something. Well, I'm going to get out of it.
Where are you going?
Bailey Park. Someone there will know me. Should be right around here, but where are the houses?
You weren't here to build them, George. Potter turned this land into a cemetery.
Cemetery? What's this? In memory of our beloved son, Harry Bailey, 1911 to 1919.
Your brother, Harry Bailey, broke through the ice and was drowned at the age of 9.
That's a lie. Harry Bailey went to war. He got the Congressional Medal of Honor. He saved the lives of every man on that transport.
Every man on that transport died. Harry wasn't there to save them because you weren't there to save Harry. You see, George, you really had a wonderful life. Don't you see what a mistake would be to throw it away?
Clarence,
Yes, George?
where's Mary? Where's my wife?
I'm not supposed to tell.
Please, Clarence. I'll choke it out of you if I have to. Tell me where she is. Tell me!
She's at the library. She's about to close up, but you... George, don't!
Mary!
Oh, you startled me. I'm afraid the library is closed now, sir.
No, Mary, it's George. George, don't you recognize me?
I'm sorry, I don't.
It's me, George.
I don't know you.
Mary, look at me.
Let me go.
Mary, please don't do this to me, please.
Help!
Where's our kids? I need you, Mary.
Hey, get away from her.
Somebody call the police.
No, Mary,
Get back here. Stop him.
Parents! Parents, are you here? I'm back at the bridge. Where are you? Clarence! Help me, Clarence. Get me back. Get me back. I don't care what happens to me. Only get me back to my wife and kids. Help me, Clarence, please. I want to live again. Please, God, let me live again.
Hey, George? George, you all right? Hey, George, hey!
Get out of here, Bert, or I'll clock you one. Get out!
What the Sam Hill are you yelling for, George?
Don't... George? Bert, do you know me?
No, yeah. Are you kidding? I've been looking all over town trying to find you. Hey, your mouth's bleeding. You sure you're all right?
Oh, my mouth's bleeding, Bert. My mouth's bleeding. What do you know about that? Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas. Get in the car. I'll drive you home.
Home? You know where I live, Bert?
The old Granville house. How could I forget?
That's right. That's my house. Let's go, Bert. Let's go. Mary, where's... Oh, hello, Mr. Carter.
Mr. Bailey, there's a significant deficit.
Yes, I know. $8,000. Oh, look at this wonderful old drafty house. Mary! Mary! Have you seen my wife, Mr. Carter?
Merry Christmas, Daddy.
Kids! Petey, Janie! I could eat you up. Where's your mother?
She went looking for you with Uncle Billy.
Daddy!
Suzu! Suzu, my little ginger snap. How do you feel?
Not a smidge of temperature.
Not a smidge of... Hallelujah!
George! George, darling!
Mary! Mary!
George, darling, where have you been?
Oh, Mary, let me hold you. You're real.
Oh, George.
You have no idea what's happened to me.
You have no idea what happened here. Come into the parlor, George. They're on their way.
Who? The sheriff? The FBI? Oh, I don't care. I'm alive.
Come on in here, oh, George. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. Come in, Uncle Billy. Everybody, in here.
Look at this, George. Money. A basket full of it. Isn't it amazing? Mary did it, George. Mary did it. She told a few people you were in trouble, and they scattered all over town collecting money. They didn't ask any questions. Just said, if George is in trouble, count on me. You never saw anything like it.
Here you are, George. I wouldn't have a roof over my head if it wasn't for you.
Me too, George. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Look, George, it's Mr. Martini.
Oh, Mr. Paley, I was so worried about you. But you're home now. Look, I busted open the jukebox.
Merry Christmas, George.
Mr. Gower.
I made the rounds of my charge accounts. Here you are.
Thank you, Mr. Gower.
Mary? George?
Violet!
I'm not going to leave town, George. I changed my mind. Bedford Falls will have to get used to my good character. Here's that loan back.
Just a minute. Quiet, everybody. Quiet. Here's the telegram from London. Mr. Campbell Cables.
Cables, you need cash. Stop. My office instructed to advance you up to $25,000. Stop. Hee-haw and Merry Christmas. Sam Wainwright.
Oh, that Sam Wainwright's such a good man.
Yes, Mother. Mr. Martini, how about some wine?
Right away, Mrs. Bailey.
Hey, everybody, look who I just picked up at the airport.
Harry!
Hey.
Oh, George. Mary?
Oh, isn't it incredible, George?
It is, Mother, it is.
But what about your banquet in New York?
Oh, I left right in the middle of it as soon as I got your telegram, Mary.
Some wine, Mr. Bailey.
Thanks, Mr. Martini. A toast to my big brother George, the richest man in town.
Look, Daddy, someone put a book in the basket.
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. And look, there's an inscription to you.
Dear George, remember no man is a failure who has friends. Thanks for the wings. Love, Clarence.
Who's Clarence?
He's a dear friend of mine.
Daddy, the church bells. Teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right, Zuzu. That's right. Attaboy, Clarence.
For all
Thank you, It's a Wonderful Life, featuring David Butler, Pamela Christman, Elsie Collier, David Katz, David Crostal, Eddie Prostice, John Tilford, with our special guests Joy Hofsummer and Jake Garofava. Our booth engineer is Kendall Jensen and Lisa Goldman. Our musical director is Cheryl Forrest Morganson. I'm your host, David Laker. Good night, everyone, and Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
All right, thank you so much. That was terrific, everyone.
We did it.
Thank you.
Yeah, we did it. So, thank you for tuning in to this live online performance of It's a Wonderful Life presented by the Celebration Company at the Station Theater. We really appreciate it, and if you'd like, head over to our webpage to donate. Thanks again, and we hope to see you as soon as we're back in our theater in Urbana. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Merry Christmas. We did it. We're out of it.
Oh, that was amazing.
That's crazy.
I saw a computer
My pants off.
at 7%. Oh my gosh, it's at 7%. And I'm like, oh, not going to work.
I'm not talking straight into my microphone.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was a
yeah.
great rehearsal. So what do we
Great rehearsal, yeah.
That was wonderful, everybody. Thank you so much. That was terrific. It exceeded my wildest expectations. And of course, you know, the biggest screw up of the night was that I forgot to load the church bells on my soundboard.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
So
Yeah.
luckily I had the Salvation Army bell on there, so.
It's great to be with everybody again.
Yeah, it's nice to see everyone.
Funny enough, the church.
All right, thanks everyone.
Everyone, see you tomorrow, Chelsea.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Thanks. Talk to you later.